I'll take an arm load or two in the house.
I took a little bit.
And then
When we get in, we can start fire.
we got a fire inside. Save some of the dry stuff. Take some of the dry stuff. Okay, I'm just going to put a few spot welds on the brackets. I really just want to try out this new welder, but I also need to get things fixed in place a little bit. And then I'm going to start on this fish plate. I'm going to pull this thing off and weld the bottom before I permanently fix this thing to the frame for the last time. The underside is going to be much easier to get to if I just flip it over real quick. So I'm going to do that. Then I'll set everything back in place and hopefully burn it in for the last time. Most years, we're not even sure if we're going to have snow on Christmas. But I think things are going to be different this year. We have had years where literally there was no snow up here on Christmas. But for the last 2 years at least, it seems things are starting earlier. But last year I still had my old red plow truck, so I wasn't as concerned about it. This year, this is the plow truck that should be plowing the snow. So if the weather continues as it has, we're going to get some serious snow this year. So the plow truck needs to be ready and available and ready to go to work whenever these storms roll in. At this exact moment, we're in the middle of about a 4-day storm that has gone from significant rain to about 4 inches of snow. If this plow truck was ready to use, I probably would have made a pass or two. But I've still got a little bit of time before the deep snow sets in. I want to box in the snowplow mount and tie the frame horns into that mount. And I don't have a ton of experience behind a MIG welder, but I can tell that the money I spent on this particular welder was money well spent. Again, I spent more for the cylinder than I did for the welder. And maybe someday I won't need a grinder when I'm done welding. I'm really concerned about getting the welds burned in hot enough without burning through the frame, because I want to know that this snowplow mount, when I hit the rocks in the road, is not going to break off and leave me stranded. I could really easily call a friend or even hire somebody to come up here and weld this in and weld it in a way where it's beautiful and it looks amazing, but that's not how I do things. There's definitely a time and a place for bringing in the qualified professional, but this isn't one of them. Because the only way I'm ever going to become a good welder is if I practice. The downside to the way that I get to practice using my torch and using my new welder is I get to practice doing this in front of you. So as long as I can handle the criticism, I'm going to continue the education. When I first started the process of becoming a journeyman plumber, I learned real quickly that I would rather have on-the-job training than sit in a classroom and have somebody try and teach me something that they may have never actually applied in a real-life situation. But so far, even in the middle of a 4-day snowstorm, our solar system and our Lion Energy batteries have provided more than enough energy for the new welder. I'm sure that what I'm doing here is total overkill for the snowplow mount, but there's part of me that wonders if the reason the company discontinued the mount was that maybe they had problems with it. So I'm going to make sure that everything's welded in a way where I don't have to do this again anytime in the future. The Blizzard snowplow is an 8000 HD, and it is about 650 pounds. So again, it's a lot of weight hanging off the front end of the truck. But once I get everything welded up and cleaned up, I'm going to paint it with some heavy duty black paint, and then I've got to get the 12 valve Cummins and the NV4500 and the transfer case swapped into this truck. Then at that point, all that I care about is that the heater works, the plow controls work, and the headlights work. Everything else is unnecessary. And once I get this plow truck back on the road, I then got to get back on the shop and get the shop finished up over winter. This will end up, I think, being the fourth plow truck that we've had since we bought our land up here. And what we have found is a light-duty 3/4 ton or preferably even a 1-ton truck and an 8-foot plow is the fastest and the best way to keep the road open. And what I'm trying to put together with this truck is the truck that I think will continuously hold up to the demand that's required when the road is plowed. And so far, the other plow trucks that we've had either started to fall apart under the stress of the job or was going to fall apart because of the stress of the job. Hopefully the stress of the job takes a little bit longer to wear this truck out. Again, once I get all the bugs worked out and the snowplow working properly, I'm going to build a flatbed for this truck. Then I'll put a toolbox and a transfer tank on that flatbed to put a little bit of weight over the rear tires. I kept the dealer takeoffs that were on my 4th gen Dodge Cummins when I bought it a few months back. And the tires were all-terrains and they're brand new, so I'm going to throw them on this truck because the lug pattern's the same. They say that if you have to use a grinder when you're done welding, you're not a welder, you're a grinder. And I am most certainly a grinder. But as usual, I don't care so much about what it looks like as much as how it performs and how it holds up. I'm going to clean this up a little bit with a grinder, but this driver's side is all boxed in and done. Before I go any further, I'm going to throw the wheels on the front of this truck. I'm going to roll it out. I'm going to hook the snowplow up to it and just make sure everything lines up good. Just make sure that the angles are good. I think I'm even going to try and wire it up and just make sure it works. You know, obviously the guy that I bought it from told me it worked, but I haven't confirmed that. So at some point I should probably do that before I get in too deep. These are the wheels and tires that were on my 4th gen Dodge truck when I picked it up a while back, and they're basically brand new, and the lug pattern is the same. So these will be perfect tires to use on the plow truck. I have found over the last 4 years that I have to run chains on all 4 tires in order to safely plow the road, and my old chains will fit these tires. That's it, it's lined up. Okay, the angle in which I would connect to the snowplow was a little bit steep, but once I get the motor and the transmission and transfer case in there, it's going to lower it at least 3 inches. So I think we'll be fine there. But what I do want to go ahead and do right now is wire it up real quick. I'm going to get a battery and see if I can't wire this up and actually make the snowplow work before I go too much further, so I can just confirm that everything's okay. Okay, the pump runs. I don't want to go through the headache of trying to figure out all the wires right now until I have the harness back in place on the truck side, so I can do it for the final time, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the plow back off, roll the truck back, finish welding the other side, paint it, and get it ready for the engine install.